Welcome to day 5 of this, more like day 10 of poorly accounted motorcycle repair. What I have here is a 12mm by 1.25 thread pitch. What I actually need for this bike is a 12 by 1.5. However, the gentleman at the parts store sort of assured me that this would probably work. As you may probably already know, because I probably mentioned it yesterday, like a minute ago, the drain plug for the bike no longer functions. It no longer holds the oil. This drain plug here is preventing me from moving forward with this bike, and I'm sure you can tell by my voice that I probably sound less than enthused. That has everything to do with this bike, mostly because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't film because, well, I don't know if it would have been wise for me to film everything, because boy oh boy was there a lot of. So without further ado, here is the start of today. Cool. Okay, so this is already aggravating me. Oh, you. Okay, fine, cool. Let's leak out all the oil first. Yep. This isn't gonna work. I think that maybe worked. So I'm gonna fill it back up with oil and get on with starting this. So I figured now would be a pretty good time to explain about the little conniption that I had. Last week, when I thought I was at the point where I could turn key and start the bike and check to see that if it was charging, I ended up blowing my main fuse, and after countless hours, which were not on film, of me applying as much thinking as I could to the situation, I finally came up with the fact that my ignition switch, I think something was grounding out essentially. The manual said that I need to take off 2 bolts and to slide out of the way the ignition switch. So after finicking around, I ended up just getting mad, and I got a hammer and a pry bar out, and I ended up encouraging the ignition switch to get out of its own way. Turns out the piece that I needed to slide away was the actual plastic housing switch. I needed to slide that away from the lock cylinder. Whereas what I thought I read was I needed to remove the lock cylinder to take the whole assembly out. I ended up breaking a plastic component on the ignition switch, which coincidentally keeps the whole thing together, and because the whole thing isn't together, I don't have a complete circuit, which makes sense why nothing was happening. So after I broke the ignition switch, I cleaned it up and I put it back together. Forcing it shut, I was able to actually get spark. Believe it or not, I actually wasn't that excited, because moments before that was when I broke the ignition switch. The other piece that I broke while hammering away at the lock cylinder was this little brass Schrader valve component off the top of my fork, and what this does is this allows me to put some air so that it's part of my suspension system. There's a line in between the 2 forks, a filler. You have to use a bicycle pump. I think it's between like 4 and 6 pounds. This is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this shouldn't be in 2 pieces, and it is. Right now my plan is to just get the battery in there and see if I can't get this thing to idle, to see if I need to see if this thing charges at 14 volts. So there you have it. I gotta walk away. The battery's back on the tender. At the moment I don't have any spark, but what was really cool is when I was lifting up on that ignition switch, my rear brake light came on. So I don't think I have this issue figured out quite yet. I'm pretty sure it's just that ignition switch. I might have to bite the bullet and just go online and find one. or fix the one that I got in a better way than like pulling up on it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you again. I'll see you guys. In this moment, I'm feeling pretty discouraged. I did walk into today feeling like not much was gonna go right anyway, but the drain plug worked out okay. Yeah, I guess it was literally just the drain plug that actually worked out today.